All right, you're welcome back. You're still watching Simply Showbiz right here on TV3. Now, I mentioned earlier that we're talking about two major things for the show today. We get to interact and engage with some of our comedians to touch on the Oscars incident revolving Chris Rock and Will Smith, and then also get to talk about our theatre industry right here in Ghana. Now, joining me to do that is veteran actor Fred Amugi. Now, Fred Amugi began his acting career in 1970 in drama and documentaries. 1970, guys, take note of that. 1970 in drama and documentaries. Now, he's also starred in numerous movies. For his international, breakthrough, he played the character Kwame Atokra in the BBC drama Holby City. Also played a pastor in Netflix's 2015 movie Beasts of No Nation. Fred Amugi, you're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, and we also have Lateef Abubakar joining us. He's a playwright and the Chief Executive Director of Globe Productions. Now, he has worked with notable actors, including Cole Smith, Asante, Ajite, and just to name a few. And then he's also known for, plays such as The Second Coming of Nkrumah, Judas and Delilah. I know Judas and Delilah because when that one came out, a lot of people were like, whoa. We know Samson and Delilah, but which one is the Judas and Delilah? So yeah, he's actually been good, in his field as well for, the period that he's been around. Lateef, you're welcome. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Fantastic. Now, 27th March, we celebrated International Theatre Day, World Theatre Day. And we saw some visuals on social media. Would you mind telling us more about that?
So I think that for us, we felt that the World Theatre Day is actually not being appreciated by the practitioners, the industry, and then the government. So it's about time we do something, some kind of activation to help spark a conversation about theatre, because we keep crying that nobody pays attention to theatre, and then the audience psyche about theatre or the people's psyche about theatre is very low. So I had a concept. I immediately called Fred, Uncle Fred, immediately that, look, it's 5 days to World Theatre Day. Someone sent me a message asking, what are we doing? And I thought that we should meet and think about something. We need to put something together. And so speaking to him, it didn't take me 1 minute. And he said, yes, I'm on board. Let's do it. Whatever it is. If it's theatre, let's do it. And then he helped call other actors on board. We started calling people, those who are available, and then will be willing to be part of this particular project. And then it happened. All right.
So what was the focus for this year's, celebration? What were you trying to achieve with, what you put together?
I think that we were trying to emphasize more on the importance of theatre towards the socio-economic development of our country. And then we're also trying to use theatre to preach togetherness and unity. Hence the title of the sketch we did on that particular day.
Okay. And in fact, awaken the practitioners of theatre. That was why we did what we did on the 27th.
I was actually going to, engage you on this one. A lot of people believe, you did mention that briefly when you talked about, the love sort of has gone down. Like, if you're comparing theatre back then, in your days, and theatre now, what would you say has been different so far?
It was, in those days, it was, unending, so to speak. Almost every weekend, there was something to watch. I remember watching the Lost Fishermen umpteen times. That tells you what was happening then. And suddenly, things started slowing down. And I always point a finger at the coup d'etats that,
plagued our country.
Yes. Okay. We were to sleep by 6. So no rehearsals. People who had taken interest and would have loved to join and, make theater what it was then. The interest just faded out. So even when everything came to normalcy, you pull and
nobody comes. Yes.
Has theatre been neglected?
Sure, it has been neglected because I remember later Samuel Ansomenu, he was a lecturer at the School of Performing Arts. He brought a whole package to the presidency, I think Kufuor's era.
Okay.
Brought it to them. And I don't know exactly who, took those documents just to tell them, hey, the theater is dying, do something. Up to now, that document has never been opened from Kufuor's era up to now. Nobody has heard anything about it.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think our politicians are not interested, so to speak, in theater. Because if they were, and come to think of it, some of theater practitioners have been MPs. And when they were with us, they were accusing people in office that, hey, you people are not, doing anything about the theater. It is dying. And yet when they went to parliament, they never spoke a word about the theater.
Yeah, a lot of people also are asking this question. Do you think that, stakeholders have positioned themselves well enough for the authorities to take a look at theater in the way you're hoping they would?
It will depend on we, the practitioners. I mean, you come and talk to me. What am I going to gain? All those things come into play.
Okay.
And if I'm not able to convince people that, hey, it is what do you call it? Entertainment. One of the best entertainments. Come on, let's do it.
Okay.
They'll just sit aloof and watch us.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry
Yeah.
to cut in. Gone were the days when even radio theater was one of the things that was happening at GBC. It's part of theater. So if you don't see the people, or you can't go to the, what do you call it, theater to watch a play, you still can watch a play in your mind's eye because you hear it on
radio.
On radio.
Okay.
All these things are gone. You go to talk to people in these radio stations and nobody seems to be interested.
We'll get into that some more, but Lateef, I also want to get your take on, stakeholders in this space. Yeah. Do you think you've positioned yourself well enough for, people at the helm of affairs to take theater seriously?
Yes, I would answer that by your question, your initial question.
Okay. Has it been neglected? Right.
And I have a yes and no answer. Yes, it has been, but the question is by who?
Okay.
So it has been neglected, but by almost all the stakeholders, which begins with the government, the academia, the media, the audience, and the practitioners.
Why do you think that is, though? Because you are in this space, so you'll be able to give some insights to this.
Unlike Nkrumah did, during his era, there was a deliberate attempt to promote theater in Ghana.
Okay.
How did he do that? He set up what we call the Osajefo Drama Group. That he made sure at every state function, this drama group performs.
Right.
It is just to increase the audience psyche, the people's psyche. Oh, if Nkrumah likes theater, it was a deliberate attempt. And the people are trying to find out more about theater. Because he knew and appreciated the importance of theater. So there must be a deliberate attempt by government to conscientize people about theater. That's to include theater in our curriculum in schools. Not just the university like we do, but it must grow from the junior to the second cycle institutions. So the government has a role to play. As for the media, I always say that when it comes to the creative arts industry, they have soft spots for music and probably film. The rest, it's as and when. They focus heavily when it's music, focus heavily when it is, focus a bit heavy when it is film, but when it's the other form of arts, like visual art, like theater, I mean, how many people make noise about it? Like we did the World Theatre Day with all these stars. How many TV stations or radio stations actually took interest about the message we wanted to send across? Okay. But assuming that we had a musical concert with popular, because we use popular actors and actresses for that particular performance, and you know them. Like, imagine it was music, and we're using popular musicians.
So when you say the media, because we saw that's why we're actually engaging you in this conversation. So when you say the media, because I believe we're also playing our part, because 3FM 92.7 at a point in time did a radio drama. So like, I know that that's the effort, but what do you think is lacking at this moment? Because we're talking about investment as well.
Yes, so
you need to pay the people who come and be, so
that is another, the investment actually in theater is extremely low.
Yeah.
We'll go back, that also goes back to the government, because for a country like us, we have just one theater. It's the only national theater. The rest of the spaces are not suitable and comfortable for performance.
Okay.
It is a manageable place, like for instance, the culture centers. How many of us can even go and perform at the culture centers?
Even with the cultural centers, many of the buildings have never been completed.
Exactly.
So,
So there is extremely low or none, maybe we don't know, investment into theater at all. It's something we are yet to see. Fortunately, we know there's a creative art bill, but as to the implementation of the bill, it's another story altogether. Yeah. But we know that that is about to happen. We pray that it helps. Okay. But currently, no, we are struggling.
Uncle Fred, let me get your take on this one. So there have been calls that, we should add theater or drama, if you like, or play into, our curriculum. How do you think that will impact theater moving forward, if that's supposed to be done or that's meant to be done?
You see, not until you call the boys to physical education. Some play football, some play that, some do that.
I think PE has actually even been taken out of the curriculum, I hear. So.
So we are speaking the same language.
Yeah.
If they don't attend physical education that it used to be, how would you spot an athlete, a footballer, a volleyball player, a table tennis player? When I was schooling in Kumasi, a Dome Presby Middle Boys School, the table tennis champions of Ghana came from my school, because the head master then had interest in every little sport. Players who had played Kotoko long ago were, pupils of that middle school. Just to tell you that if we really take drama to the schools like it used to be. Me, I came from the drama society.
Okay.
Way back in Numa Secondary School, and this is where it's yes. Yeah. But that thing is no more there.
Okay. Why
I cannot tell. Somebody doesn't like something, and everybody must not like it. This is how I see it.
Lateef, let me find out from you. So what do you think is the way forward? You're calling for support. What kind of support? What are you looking at?
I think that the first of the support is infrastructure support.
Okay.
There must be the needed infrastructure to facilitate the theater productions. And the cost of the infrastructure, of renting those infrastructures, is another thing we should be considering. There must be some kind of package. Because sometimes, you remember last week we were having a conversation, and a colleague of mine was like, but you claim you've built a national theater for theater performances. If companies like Nyansapo want to rent the national theater, you charge them the same amount you would charge for people who want to do a conference. You charge them the same amount for people who want to do other activities, musical concert activities in there. So what is actually the point in wanting to support theater? What are we doing? Actually nothing. If we don't want to even give the little concern, even at our own house, in quotes, the National Theatre, a little concern or subsidy for theater practitioners to use the place, then what is the basis? Aside that, there's nothing else. We need infrastructure, we need investment, and some kind of commitment in terms of, like I keep saying, some kind of deliberate attempt to project theater. It is the only way we can preserve our culture properly. It is the only way we can tell our stories in terms of enacting our stories to our children for them to experience how it looks like. So if we don't want it, other people are investing, other countries are investing millions, if you research across board, into theater purposely because they want to preserve their culture, purposely because they want to preserve their tradition. And I think that we should be looking at that too as well. Aside it being the mirror of a society, and then also it's being able to champion, development communication, which is paramount.
Okay, Fred, let me get your final take on this one as well. So moving forward, what do you think can be done to ensure that theatre is appreciated more, it's not neglected?
Theatre should be brought to the schools, in fact, JHS and SHS, so that we have some kind of competitions annually in drama. That will, I believe, will inject some kind of interest into our children and grandchildren. Yeah.
And we should see the government doing certain investment into theater to give confidence to people learning theater, learning arts at the universities, to feel that when they come out, there is something to do.
All right. Well, you just heard Lateef Abubakar over there sharing his thoughts on whether if theatre has been neglected. Also joining me to have this conversation was veteran actor Fred Amugi. You're still watching Simply Showbiz right here on TV3. We're going for a quick break. When we come back, we get to interact with our comedians where we talk about the Oscars incident. Stay tuned in.